What's up, everybody, and welcome back to our extended E3 coverage for PlayStation Universe. And we're going to talk about a game that I think perhaps is flying under the radar to a degree.
I would say so, yeah.
Not a lot of buzz, not a lot of hype, but nonetheless, Kyle here got to see Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Yes, I did. Kingdom Come Deliverance, a Kickstarter-funded title from Warhorse Studios, an amalgamation of developers that came from such things as, you saw some of the studios, right? Like 2K.
Yeah,
and
2K
things
worked
like
on like the original Mafia 2.
Oh, really?
And,
Okay.
so it was, 2K check.
Yeah, so there's a lot of development talent behind it. It's notable to me because I remember it being one of the early sort of Kickstarter crown jewels, like a game that seemed really, really ambitious and garnered a lot of attention and Kickstarter funding. So
It's been some years ago then, I guess.
Yeah, a couple years. Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago, actually, come to think of it. It has been a little while. It's not hard to see why it got people excited, though.
Yeah.
It's essentially take what you know about the Elder Scrolls being first-person sword, melee sort of fighting. None of the magic stuff. This is all very much historically accurate. But it's a first-person role-playing game set in the country of Bohemia, which is today the Czech Republic, in the year 1403.
Nice little history lesson.
Yes, yeah, it was very much a history lesson for me. These things were not known as of 2 hours ago, but very much historically accurate because the studio is based in Prague, not too far from there, and it covers the Hungarian army's invasion of Bohemia.
Okay.
And you are a single person, a character named Henry, whose town or settlement is invaded. You end up in the servitude or friendship of a noble in a neighboring area, and so you get kind of roped into this turmoil as the noble himself starts a resistance against the Hungarian army.
Okay.
That's just the story context for what is essentially a first-person RPG. So think The Elder Scrolls Oblivion, but very much medieval and grounded and historically accurate. And those things bleed into the gameplay systems as well.
Yeah, okay, so speaking about the gameplay, so we've got standard kind of first-person sword fighting. Is there anything that kind of makes it deviate from the norm?
Yeah,
systems.
There is. For one thing, you can lock onto enemies, even in first person, and then the way that you strike at them, it's a 6-way directional system.
All right,
so
okay.
without seeing exactly how it plays out, I'm sure it's an analog stick flicking of some kind. But you've got like a 5-point star, and you can attack from any one of those angles.
Okay.
Side, uppercuts, or directly in the center, do a stab. So you've got those options with each strike that you make. As well as the armor system is probably where the deepest complexities of combat lie. In true realistic medieval fashion, you wear multiple layers of armor. So you might have your full plate cuirass outside, you might have a tunic beneath that, or some chainmail beneath that. And there's a collision system that's looking at everything about where my weapon collides with your armor. If it's your shoulder, it's looking at how well the plate on the outside deflects, how well the chainmail beneath that deflects, and the tunic beneath that.
Yeah,
so all those three things are calculated into
a lot
every
of play, okay.
Yeah. So every damage calculation features that, and then every hit to a body part, after that calculation is made, in a high level way, I'm bashing your shoulder. If you can imagine medieval armor crumpling underneath that, it's doing more damage successfully.
Each
If
time,
I keep
yeah,
beating you with it, it's eventually your armor is going to give way. But that's just the example of a mace. So there's slashing weapons, stabbing weapons, and those things play into that equation as well. In that sense, it's a very deep and interesting combat system. Certainly one that takes more of a real-world, realistic approach to it.
Yeah, it seems kind of refined, I guess, since you don't have the likes of magic and stuff, so you really have to have that honed in.
What I gotta say about the game too is that it's extremely ambitious, and I worry that it's too ambitious. Certainly the demo that I saw we're nowhere near the release of the game. In fact, they even said it's 2017, which could mean a year and a half from now, right?
Yeah.
It could be late 2017. But it's just fascinating to me to hear and see the kind of things that they want to incorporate. For example, working in the game right now, the way you repair your blades and repair your armor, you are literally sitting down at the grindstone,
Nice.
pressing it, having it spin, and then using the analog sticks to both move your sword laterally against the grindstone and twist it to get the right angle at which you see sparks and not like black smoke and a burning
something
thing.
new. That's good.
And literally, you're so take something like Skyrim where you're just mashing X and numbers are going up.
Yeah.
Numbers are still going up. You're getting up to 100 durability in your inventory screen, but you're physically going through the act of sharpening that blade in the same way that you would have done so historically, like in that time period.
I mean, for standard RPG fare, I guess it's a pretty big world. Are they ambitious?
Yep, it's 16 square kilometers. Again, all set in like the Bohemian landscape, which is kind of the studio's backyard. So there's reference photos that were taken to use in the art direction. They're, for some of the game's locations, not all of them, they're literally going and seeing what that monastery or cathedral looks like today and recreating it with some artistic liberties because of the time period, recreating it almost brick by brick. Like some of their key art for the game is like literally cut in half. Here's modern day, and here's the same picture in the game, and like look at how the setting plays out. So in terms of historical accuracy, I mean it's kind of incredible what they've been able to achieve in a relatively short time in the public eye.
And for a Kickstarter game.
Exactly, for a Kickstarter game,
you have the likes of Bethesda
complex.
and stuff who would make Elder Scrolls huge sprawling games, but some of the mechanics are not maybe as refined as they could be as a result of how big it is. But this seems to
that's
really
definitely
into
the lack of refinement because of its ambition and its size could be an issue here. And certainly the demo I saw was rough. There was a ton of texture pop-in. There were a ton of visual glitches. Even some like trees floating in the sky off in the horizon. None of the lip syncing was in there. It was just static faces with text dialogue and. No, it might have been voiced actually. Now that I think about it, but either way, it's clearly got a long ways to go. And really the question in my mind is, all these systems are cool.
Yeah.
The fact that so much of it is historically reproduced is cool, but does that actually make a fun game, and B even like a game? You know, you look at something like The Witcher. Or really any open world RPG, Skyrim, Oblivion, it becomes a game when all these systems like interlock with each other over the course of this world, and an engaging story takes you from point to point and gives you a reason to be doing these things. It strikes me as if there's elements of busy work there. Do I really want to be manually sharpening my blade every time I get down there? And is it?
I mean, we've talked about.
Is it a detriment to? Will it be a detriment to the fun of the overall experience? Is an unanswered question in my mind, and something that I think. It should be on the backers' minds as well, the Kickstarter backers' minds as well.
Yeah,
it's clear that...
I think it's commendable when you have a studio formed by, as well, senior figures in the industry, so you would presume they would know the kind of the run of things, trying to equate ambition with like budget and like time and stuff. It just seemed, it screams to me as if it's kind of this new kind of studio that's really... They haven't been in the industry too long, and they're trying to take on maybe too much. Or they are too ambitious and not.
I worry so. The game feels to me, and I hope I'm wrong, like a project that's going to be delayed, perhaps multiple.
It was
times.
already. I think it was originally late 2016 release,
which certainly doesn't surprise me, and it's got a long way to go. So hopefully it's not a Mighty Number 9 situation. I will say, to give some assurance to the Kickstarter backers out there. They are extremely ambitious. They're not lacking for that, and much of what they're ambitious about has actually been implemented, like the historically accurate buildings, the crafting, sharpening system, the layering of armor. Now it's more it's big time polish should be what's next, and hopefully it comes along as a result of that.
Well, those are our impressions of Kingdom Come Deliverance. Stay tuned to PSU all throughout the week for extended E3 coverage on our social media channels, Twitter, Facebook. Even Snapchat and Periscope, where we will bring the best and the greatest of PlayStation and what they have to offer this week. So thank you.
Thanks.